management.
Hello, good morning. You are locked into Revive FM 94.0 on the Power Hour with your host today, Louise Power. This show is about community matters, diversity and inclusion, a platform for women, leadership, entrepreneurship and inspirational stories. And today I have a special guest in the studio. Her name is Natalie Duval, and Natalie is a brand manager for one of the biggest brands in the world, Red Bull, and a business owner and actress, and of course a dope Black mum with two beautiful daughters. Welcome to the show, Natalie. Good morning.
Morning. Thank you for having me.
You're more than welcome. And actually, this is my first Tuesday. So juggling it between the school run and getting here, because I just had my Friday show normally. But because, you know, I'm excited to see that it's going so well, I've put on another day now. So you've been part of the whole process.
Oh, well, I am honoured that I am here. So thank you so much for having me.
Being a mum, you understand.
Yeah, we did the school run this morning. I had to drop one to the dentist because she had a toothache. There was a lot going on this morning, but we are here, we're alive, we're blessed, and the kids are in school. And that's the most important thing.
That's the most important thing, of course. So, Natalie, I've known you for a while, a couple of years now, even though it seems like time has really flown by. I was lucky to a few years ago to get onto the Red Bull social entrepreneurs weekend.
Yeah.
And I met you there. We hit it off, and you completely inspired me.
Aww.
Yeah, with all the different hats and all the different things he was doing. And when I looked into everything, I always knew that we would reconnect again and have some synergy. So if you could just tell the listeners a little bit about, just introduce yourself, that would be great.
Yeah, so I'm Natalie Duval. So I trained as an actress. I went to the Brit School of Performing Arts with Amy Winehouse was in the year below me, and Adele was there, but not when I was there. But it's a great performing arts school in Croydon. I then went on to do my master's at East 15 Acting School, and then after that I was a jobbing actress doing lots of theatre, TV. I did a web series called Brothers with No Game, which was really cool and was online. And then I had babies. So I was like, well, I need a proper job because we can't be living like this for the rest of our lives. And I'm a creative. I've always been a creative, and I managed to get in to Red Bull, and I literally started on reception. I was just a temp on reception when I was quite young, and then I managed to kind of just always go back there, and then now, 12 years later, I'm a brand manager for one of the biggest brands in the world, and I'm really proud of that. And Red Bull really does give wings to people and their ideas and the community. But I still am an actress, so I still do lots of acting, lots of different things, and I have my own business called March Muses, where we create Christmas decorations of color, because my daughters had never seen a black angel before. They'd never seen a black angel. They'd never seen a black fairy. They'd never seen Santa Claus a different color than what it was represented on TV, which is white. So
You're doing lots of different things, but just such amazing things as well. Natalie's giving people wings in this awesome role with Red Bull, and actually Red Bull do give you wings.
They really do.
And there's no doubt about it. I can certainly speak from my own experience. Having that weekend was very nourishing, very edifying. I learned so much. And within a very short space of time, we had people that was, running their own social enterprises, and they was giving us all of the information that we need in order to start our own. You guys are really, really positive. You gave us all of the encouragement we needed that in my early days of social entrepreneurship. And of course, the decorations that you're making, I saw that and I thought, how unique. It's so intrinsically embedded in our consciousness that I didn't even realize I hadn't seen a black fairy.
Yeah.
Because it's just what we see, and we pick up these decorations and they're not black, but it's uncomfortably normal.
Yeah, and we liken ourselves to Uber, and we say we're almost like the Uber of Christmas decorations, as if we didn't realize we needed Uber until it came. We were like, oh well, you can just get a taxi. That's just normal. No, but you can get a taxi, and it's like this, and you're like, that's why Uber exists, and that's exactly what we're like. Of course, there's lots of decorations. We didn't even think about it, and then it wasn't until I think my daughters were like, no, I was looking for a tree topper, a black one, just to hang on my tree, just so that my kids could see some, black fairies on the tree. And I couldn't find any. I thought, no, this can't be right. There must be, John Lewis, come on. John Lewis, Marks and Spencer, come on. There must be just one little black fairy. And actually, we ended up using a Barbie doll at the top of the tree just so that there was a bit of representation. And it was a beautiful Barbie doll with lots of dresses. But I thought, what's going on?
What is
Why
going on?
why can't I find, and also Santa being this stereotypical white with the rosy cheeks. I mean, that's an image that Coca-Cola created, if you think
Yes,
about it. When we
yes,
think about Santa, actually it's based on a myth, number one, and also the myth is derived from Turkey. So, if you think about it, if the myth derives from Turkey, then Santa was going to be brown anyway. Santa,
yeah,
Saint Nick, it's a darker representation, but obviously Coca-Cola wanted to Disneyfy it and make it a bit more commercial. And so they made him white with rosy cheeks. And, that's not, especially when we're talking about characters like that and
yeah.
angels as well. Angels, oh,
You
of
not to
course,
see when growing up, I
uh,
think I'm,
they're based on mythical characters. An angel is, no one, as far as I know, has actually seen an angel. So it's just based on what we think. And if all we think is that angels are white, then that's what's all going to be depicted in the media and on TV. And actually, angels can be any color. And that's what I had to show my children.
yes, angels can be any color, and it's almost as if our children don't see anything that represents black people in a good way. I mean, when my son was a bit younger, he's 7 now, but a couple of years ago, he really wanted a black dolly, like a boy doll. And I looked everywhere. I went into the shopping centre in Westfield. I went online and I could not find this doll for him. And I just thought, but, and I was looking locally at first, but there was just nowhere. I just couldn't find it. And I ended up writing to a couple of the toy stores and, all of the major stores in the area because I just couldn't believe I couldn't find him this doll.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna show my age now, but I'm 37, and there used to be a shop. I mean, it only disappeared a couple of years ago. Well, a bit more than that, but Woolworths. Woolworths used to be a great shop, and
Yes,
there was one in Brixton, and that was the only place where you could actually find the possibility of a black doll. And that's where, and sometimes Morley's in Brixton, but yeah, it's few and far between for a very long time. And even now, you walk into Smith's, or I know Toys R Us doesn't exist anymore, but when you used to walk into there, it would be like a whole range of just white baby dolls. And then you might get a black baby doll, but the black baby doll looked really odd, looked
yeah,
really aggressive, looked really, really dark
they was
skinned
always
black
more
as well,
expensive.
more expensive, and just was also not as nice, just not as
Yeah,
nice. Like I wouldn't want that,
yeah,
and then the only other Disney princess you have is Princess Tiana, which is fantastic that we had that for Disney. But her dresses are just a green. It's not princessy dressy. It looks like a leaf almost. It's not
no, it's not pretty.
Cinderella's. It's not pretty. It's not like the sparkly dresses that Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty wear. It's just like this, and even Pocahontas is like, just whatever she's in. So it's always a battle.
Yeah, and it's almost like we're giving that our little girls that strong black woman syndrome in a subconscious way, and leading me now, actually, Natalie, into the conversation about what happened with your daughter because I was flabbergasted,
Yeah,
and Natalie will tell you all about it. I was absolutely flabbergasted when I saw and heard what was going on there. Where your daughter had gone to school and had given this Black history class with now no follow up, and the history was about a little black girl being racially abused in
yeah.
the playground. So yeah, do you want to just
Yeah,
to
I
tell me a
mean,
bit about that?
I I always laugh about that school. There was a school a couple of years ago who sent a letter home to their to the parents saying, "This month is Black History Month, and to celebrate it, please can you dress your kids up as slaves, as we're going to be exploring slavery and all this kind of stuff." And I just used to think, wow, the school had the balls to send that letter home and to ask the parents to provide raggedy clothes so the kids could dress up as slaves. And I was just like, wow, not my school, not my life. And then my daughter came home, and she was so upset. And I couldn't understand why she was so upset. I was like, what's happened? What's wrong? And she was like, oh, they were showing this video in their Black History Month class, and it made her really uncomfortable. She felt really hot, and she ended up crying. And four other members of her class ended up crying. And then the teacher told them to go to the toilet. And I was like, well, what was the video about? Oh, it was about racism and about this little girl being bullied. And I was like, okay, well, really, it's not a great video to be showing in Black History Month anyway, but yeah, racism in school does exist. And then I kind of mentioned it in the WhatsApp group. They've got a school WhatsApp group, and one of the teachers is a TA. And so she said to me, oh, actually, this is the video that was shown, just so you know. Well, when I saw the video, I'm a 37-year-old woman, and I was uncomfortable. It was
uncomfortable.
It was the most uncomfortable watch, and I can't believe that my 9-year-old was subjected to watching this. So basically, it was based in a school, and three little white girls who are the same age as my daughter, 9, 10, were bullying the black girl, calling her clay face because they were playing with clay and they were wiping the clay on her face. And they were saying, why don't you go back to your own country? This is England. We're pure. We're white. Your skin's the color of mud. Clay face, clay face. And I was just like, what? Number one, it was a BBC bite-sized resource. And we all know how BBC tackle racism early in the mornings when they like to just say words which we aren't supposed to say. Number two, the resource was actually 2007. So it's a very old resource. And number three, there was no discussion about this video because my child and four other members were so upset, and they felt embarrassed because the girls in the class were laughing because it was a funny. They're 9, so they were laughing and they thought it was funny. And the teacher just said to go and wash their face, so they went and washed their face, and they couldn't go back into the class. So again, no discussion. There was no duty of care or anything, and that was one of the biggest problems for me. And yeah, I was totally upset. And also, this isn't the time to be showing this type of video. In fact, there is no time to be showing this type of video. But regardless, it's Black History Month. We are supposed to be elevating our little black girls. And if anything, all this did was give white girls in her class ideas. And I went down to the school the next day because I was livid. Yes. And I sat down with the headmaster and the deputy head, and I literally I tried to be calm. I wasn't going to be the stereotype angry black woman, but I was an angry black mum. And I sat down and I said, this is not it. It is Black History Month. This is not the video to be showing at Black History Month. It's not the video to be showing in Anti-Bullying Week. And they tried to defend their actions, saying, well, actually, this wasn't a Black History Month lesson. It was actually a PSHE lesson when they were being taught discrimination and prejudices. And I said, well, number one, my child was confused. She didn't think it was PSHE. She thought it was something to do with Black History Month. And number two, what other discrimination did you explore? Because it seems that the only discrimination you explored was racial bullying. Did you explore anything else? And they didn't. So there was so many issues, so many problems, and I was very, very annoyed.
Yeah. Well, I went to look at the clip after, listening to you and empathizing and putting my mother's hat on and thinking, no, not acceptable. I would have been so upset if that was my child. And you're teaching everybody else in that class that are my children lesser than or something like that.
It was so many other ways.
And I thought it was so old as well. So old, so dated. Should have never ever been something that any child saw, even then in 2007, let alone in 2020 when we've just had George Floyd murdered in front of our eyes. Black Lives Matter. We're all suffering from some sort of you know, having to put our mental health together because we've been in like lockdowns and
This
all the
year
different things.
has been the most
Oh my
traumatizing, and
gosh.
especially for little black boys and girls who are having to learn this thing even more than we had to learn when we were younger, because it's even more in their face. So they're even more hyper aware of racism and being black, and we're trying to uplift them. And then if the place that you trust, the school, is all they're doing is showing them, racial bullying to this level as well in Black History Month. There was just so many things that went wrong. And little white girls would see that, and they're 9. They're not mature
Yeah.
enough to take that information on. They're 9. And I said to the teacher, anyhow my child comes home and tells me that she got into an argument with her best friend, who happens to be white and Polish, and the best friend said, "Oh, shut up, Clayface," that's on
Yes.
you.
That's
That's
on
on
you.
you, because you gave them that word.
The
Because
idea.
I've never, ever heard that term.
I
I've never
haven't
been
heard
called
it.
that term, never. And so that is on you for feeding them those ideas. And it just upset me so much.
Yeah, and I hope that that school has learned a very valuable lesson, and anybody else that's listening to the show or in education, will be passing on those lessons and those learnings, because yes, mistakes do happen, but those are the kind of mistakes that we can't afford to make. And I would like to know. I know that it happened retrospectively and afterwards, but it's a separate thing. But you started and are involved in the beginning of Dope Black Mums, aren't you?
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. So
Um, yeah, and I would like to know how Dope Black Mums was born, because that is just awesome, guys. You've got to hear about Dope Black Mums, because they're doing amazing things, and I think that just the title itself, Dope Black Mums, is like putting our motherhood on a platform, and exercising all of the great things that we do in our community. So what is Dope Black Mums all about?
Dope Black Mums is a movement, and it's actually bigger than Dope Black Mums, because we're just a small part of motherhood, but
Yes.
we are a part of motherhood that has been ignored for centuries. When and it's about putting Black women into the narrative.
Yes.
Black men get to be in the narrative a lot. They get to be on the TV shows. They get to be in music quite a lot. But Black women are always struggling, and we're always trying to find our space. And especially when it comes to motherhood, you look at TV adverts, you look at TV shows, we're erased. We're not there. I mean, I say that now. Obviously, there's been a ramp up in black people on TV adverts. At one point, I thought I was watching BET, because literally every advert was a Black person. I was like, yeah, okay, they've discovered that Black people exist. That's great. But literally every single advert was
We've
like,
always been here.
we've always been here, and now they've opened their eyes, and now they're hiring us, which is absolutely fantastic. But for a very long time, Black women especially weren't in the narrative. You would find those family adverts, and I call them Sally and Leroy, where you have a white woman and a Black man, and then their mixed race children. That's as far as they would go when it comes to representation on TV. And the Black woman was just always erased, especially with motherhood. So Dope Black Mums came about when Dope Black Dads was born. And that was started by Marvin Harrison, and his wife founded Dope Black Mums. And it's a WhatsApp group, a community. And literally, I said to Nina one day, who's the founder of Dope Black Mums, well, Dope Black Dads have a podcast. I think Dope Black Mums need to have a podcast. And so we contacted all the mums in the group. We said, we're going to start a podcast. Who would like to be involved? A few people said, yeah, I wouldn't mind being involved. And literally, Dope Black Mums, the brand, was born. And it's as simple as that. And we've been going for about a year and a half now. We have got a great listenership on our podcast. We've done partnerships with SANS, which is the baby loss community, where Black women, again, were erased from baby loss. It was almost like we don't lose babies. And in fact, we are more likely to lose babies. But in
Yes.
all their communication, in all their imagery, it was just white women that was shown. So we're changing the landscape of that. We've got a blood donation partnership, just talking about Black people
Yeah.
donating. And
If you could
we,
just go a little bit closer to the mic, I don't want it to be too low for you. Yeah, yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
And then we also did a partnership with Juvenis, which is a charity, where we did a back to school campaign where we raised just over £8,000 so that we could give vouchers to struggling families, especially when getting school uniform for September, especially in this time when so many people have lost their jobs, have been furloughed, aren't making the type of money that they were making last year. And so we're just always about serving the community and adding motherhood, Black motherhood, into the
yes,
narrative.
yes, yeah. It's so important for people to recognize our narrative. I,
Yeah,
I sent somebody an email this morning because we've been talking, and I was explaining that it's the unfortunate status quo, actually, in the fact that I'm doing presenting and I've always been a creative and all the other things that we do, that we have to go the extra mile. We've got to do things so much more long-winded than, our,
yeah.
our,
And people
our
get
peers.
annoyed. People get annoyed when we say dope Black mums. They're like, oh, why dope Black mums? Why not all mums? And we're like, well, we're not saying that other mums don't matter.
Yeah,
It's a bit like that all lives matter rhetoric that we always have to go with. We're not saying that all mums don't matter, but right
yeah,
now, what we're saying is that Black motherhood needs to be talked about and needs to be explored because there are issues that Black mothers are facing that
yeah,
no other race, and I'm talking
are
about people of
facing.
color as well. So I'm talking about Asian, I'm talking about any other race is facing. We are facing higher risks of childbirth, higher
Yeah,
risk of losing our babies, higher risk of our teenagers being stabbed. There's so many different levels of um, social,
it's
economic
multifaceted.
problems.
It's, it's, it's all, it's, we have to think about these things all the time. And even if it's not our children, it's in our community.
Right.
Young boys being stabbed, you know, um, you know, uh, a lot of single parents in our communities. There's so many things that happen in our communities, and we don't like to, there are positive, great things that happen in our communities, but because of the socio-economical disadvantages, because of the disenfranchisement from just about every sector, okay,
Yeah.
we have a lot of things that we have to go out there and face on a daily basis.
Yeah, which other groups don't, I'm afraid. And so that's why we created this group, because there is a commonality
Yeah,
between us, and there are issues that we are facing that no one else is facing, and unfortunately, no one else was talking about until we had to put a spotlight on it. And so now people are talking about it. Now we are looking at why women are dying at more of a rate than any other races in childbirth. We're looking at how we can really help the community in terms of, gun and knife crime. But like I said, it is bigger than Dope Black Mums. There are so many other amazing mother groups out there that are doing exactly that. And I think that's the key, mother, women, we get stuff done.
yeah.
Yes, men do have the opportunities to do a lot more just because of the way life has turned out. But who runs the world? Girls.
Girls. And hold that thought. We have a very, very short commercial break. A very short commercial break. So hold that thought. Who runs the world? Girls. I love it. I love it. I'm just enjoying this so much. We'll be right back in 2 minutes. So you don't go anywhere. There's going to be a commercial break so you can get some water, and we'll be right back. Don't touch that dial. You've been locked into the Power Hour. We'll be back in 2 minutes after the commercial break.
If you want to advertise your business on Revive FM, then visit www.revivefm.co.uk. Alternatively, contact our sales team now on 07944 56 5616. That's 07944 56 5616.
People of Asian and Black ethnic origin are at an increased risk of COVID-19. Queen Mary University London has launched a research study called Covidence UK to find out why this is. If you are Black or Asian, we need your help to complete our studies. All you need to do is complete an online survey. Please help us to understand the coronavirus disease so we can develop tools to prevent it. Sign up at qmul.ac.uk/Covidence. Sign up and save lives.
This is an important update about coronavirus. To help save lives, new national restrictions are now in place until the 2nd of December. You must stay at home. Only leave home for food, medical reasons, exercise, education, or work. You must work from home if you can and avoid travel unless essential. Go to gov.uk/coronavirus for latest guidance and exemptions. Stay alert, control the virus, save lives.
This is Aisha. Her father died in an accident at a very young age. She lives with her mother and siblings. There are millions like Aisha who do not have access to the very basics of life, resulting in her and many others not being able to attend school. Through Minhaj Welfare Foundation, your charity is dedicated towards supporting the full needs of orphans and needy children around the world. Donate today. Call us now, 0300 30 30 777. Or visit us on minhajwelfare.org.
Minhaj School of Islamic Sciences provides quality Islamic education for children aged between 5 and 15 years old. As well as teaching classical Islam, including Tajweed, Fiqh, Seerah, and Aqidah, we endeavour to equip children with essential Islamic manners, morals, and values. Here at MSIS, our experienced teachers create an inspirational learning environment where we strive to cater for the needs of every child. For enrolment inquiries, inquire in person at Minhaj School of Islamic Sciences, Monday to Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. at 292-296 Romford Road, or email admin.edu_London@minhajuk.org.
Revive FM
94.0 on the radio,
on your mobile,
and online.
Hello, and welcome back to Revive FM 94.0 on the Power Hour with your host today, myself, Louise Power, and my guest is Natalie Duval. She is a brand manager for one of the biggest brands in the world, and that will be Red Bull. Welcome back, Natalie.
Thanks for having me.
And just before the commercial break, we were saying, who runs the world?
Girls.
and because you've got so much expertise with senior leadership and entrepreneurship, I'd like to know your thoughts on the things that we can do or say to encourage other women that look like us in terms of what they can do to grasp opportunities or create opportunities. We know that juggling our careers with motherhood, can be challenging. But of course, we'd like to encourage them to say, go for it, and anything that you want to do that you put your mind to, you can do, despite the obstacles. The glass for me is always half full. So what's your stance on some advice around that?
I always think, obviously, thinking up of an idea that is original is really hard. So it's always best to just go with what you know and or what you feel like doing. If you feel like you could write a children's book, write a children's book. If you create clothes or you're really good with fashion, then we live in the digital age now. So whereas before it might have been a bit harder to start a business, tomorrow you can start a business by literally just starting an Instagram page. It's as simple as that. And then other things will kind of fall into place. And there is so much information online that, to be honest with you, there's absolutely you don't even need my advice. There is no excuse. You can go out online and go, how do I start a business? And there'll be like a step-by-step guide of how to start a business. Yeah. And I do think that as women, especially as mothers, we have to find ways to be innovative, because, that school run isn't going to do itself.
Yeah.
And yes, we have a village around us, but some people don't. And so some people need to find flexible working hours, and in a time when jobs are scarce at the moment, because things aren't going the way that we thought 2020 was going to be, because I know that everyone thought 2020 was going to be their year, and in some ways it has been. In some ways it was the year that made us realize just how precious life really was, and we were moving at a pace that wasn't really manageable. So it's a time for reflection. If you have an idea, literally put pen to paper. Yeah. And think about what you need. You might have a person that who has similar ideas. And I always think it's hard to do business with friends. I think it's very hard to do business with friends. But to do business with someone who is slightly easier. And it's and then you may become good friends while you're doing your business, kind of thing. Yeah. So and always, even if it's your mum or like someone, like just have an idea and just kind of go back and forth and like, think about different ways of doing it. At the moment, there's a few grants that are available. There's lots of ground, like there's lots of stuff out there.
Yes, yes.
What I'm saying. That's available.
The resources are out there. And I done an interview last week with somebody called Karen Anderson. She does a lot of the social ventures and the social lectures. She is a social business specialist over at Cambridge University. And I learned a lot in terms of the fact that I am on, I am a board of trustee, and what I do at Changing the Chemistry is intrinsically, our overarching objective is to create diversity on the board. Yeah. So all of these things that we're talking about now is really important. But one of the things we discussed was that even if you are a small business, you can have a board of advisors. You can have some non-executive, advisors, and we call them friends, or we call them, but look for mentors. Be up for speaking to people that are more experienced than yourself, and most people are really kind and they'll give you their time.
Especially now, there's a lot of to not use the word, but there's a lot of white guilt at the moment, and so there's a lot of experienced white executives, white CEOs who are wanting to use their privilege in a good way, and they are wanting to help the Black community, especially after what's happened this year. And we should be using that.
There are a lot of people that are allies, and there are a lot of people that want to do things to support the community. Genuinely, they actually want to do things that will be able to enhance. And actually, there are a lot of Black mentors and Asian mentors and people out there that have done really well, like yourself. And they're able to give you a bit of their time. And you can find people in different sectors with different skill sets. So if you start a small business, and in fact, one of the things that happens is people's businesses don't fail because the ideas aren't great. They don't fail because they're not ambitious. They don't fail because they don't have the capabilities. Sometimes it's the know-how. And if you have a board, or you have some advisors around, that one person's good at finance and somebody else is really good at business development, or something else in the beginning, and you share that in your little village of expertise, I find that it is so much more helpful, because no one is an island.
Right. And you can't do it alone. That is the biggest thing. I think with small businesses, you think, oh, you have to do it by yourself, and you shouldn't have to do it by yourself. You need, like, I'm a creative and I'm terrible. And when I say terrible, I'm terrible at maths. Okay. So I'm terrible at maths and I'm terrible at finance. Like, that is just me. I'm more creative. I'm like, yeah, let's do this. Let's do that. Oh, what's it going to cost? Like, I will create the hell out of something. But when it comes to the finance and the budgeting of all that, I'm awful. Whereas my business partner is much better with the finance and the business side of things. And so that, that partnership really does work, because then we work on each other's weaknesses, but we have our own strengths. And so it's knowing what your strengths are and knowing where your weaknesses lie and where you need help with your weaknesses. And as long as you can do that, then there's no reason why ideas shouldn't be a success. And like I said, right now, advertising is overtaken by social media. It's overtaken by social media. So if you've got a good idea and you can run with it, start an Instagram page, start a Twitter account, and start running with it, and start looking at how other people have done it, and and copy how other people have done it. What have they done to market it? What sponsored ads do you see on Instagram that come, and why does it follow you? Do a little bit of research. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take work, but there's loads of companies out there that do help you. And I think it is important to get help and to get mentorship. And there's some great businesses out there that do that, especially now. There's lots that have been formed, especially serving, people of color.
So yeah, does Red Bull still do the social weekend? Do they still do that?
So no, so we're changing tact at the moment, but we still look after social entrepreneurs and we still give wings to the community. So we always are looking at different projects that we can work on. We work with lots of different companies and different brands who also give wings to the community. So one of the brands that we work with is Social Fixed, which is owned by Mercedes Benson, and her initiative, her mission is to get more people of color, more Black people into the corporate sector, which is mainly white. So she has amazing contracts with Google, with Warner Music, with Red Bull, where, you know, the recruitment job board is sent directly to people of color so that they can see it first and then they can apply and have a higher rate of getting a job within the corporate sector, within the creative sector. And I think that's absolutely fantastic, because I think a lot of it is access. You know, we don't get to see some of these jobs because a lot of these jobs are only shown to a certain type of person, hence why the corporate sector has a certain type of look.
And Natalie, that's what the Power Hour is all about. It's about information and accessibility. It's about getting the information to the people that need it most, whether they're, you know, already business owners or professionals or entrepreneurs or people in the community or mums at home. But, you know, having different people with experiences, stories, expertise, and getting the information to those peoples as in social mobility. It's because I'm trying to raise awareness, diversity, and inclusion and equality.
Exactly. And it really does come down to access. And, you know, there's things that everyone can do that, you know, we're telling you, start your Instagram page, join LinkedIn. You know, there's lots of jobs that go on LinkedIn, like those kind of things. And I find a lot of people through LinkedIn. You know, we were doing some stuff with Dope Black Mums, and I was like, oh, we really need a lady who can speak on this. But we were looking for someone who's Black, and we looked on LinkedIn, and there she was.
There she was.
So there she was. So there's so many different resources. We have to, and I think, I don't know if it's a British thing or something, but sometimes we don't like to toot our own horn, and we don't like to kind of push ourselves forward. I know Americans are much better than that, and they really do kind of push themselves to the forefront, and they really big themselves up. And we need to champion ourselves a bit more and give ourselves a bit more confidence to go out there and get what is ours, because there's so much pieces of this pie that we need to have a piece of, and we can't be apologetic about it. We need to be unapologetically Black, unapologetically ambitious, and unapologetically strong.
Guys, isn't she awesome? Isn't she? You know, there's just like, I'm just in awe. I'm listening to the speech and I'm just like, yes, unapologetically, and get a piece of the pie, because we are deserving and we are capable. The show's coming to an end now, Nat, but if you could just quickly tell the people very, very quickly anything that you have planned for the coming year.
So with March Muses, we've got our Christmas decorations of colour, and you can find us on marchmuses.co.uk and at March Muses on all socials. And we've got a Christmas tree topper fairy coming as well. So I know everyone's quite excited to have an angel at the top of their tree, which we will have in the next week. And we've also got a nativity set. So we've just got beautiful, beautiful decorations. We are a small business, so it is limited stock. So if you do want to get it now. Dope Black Mums, of course, is going from strength to strength. We're doing lots of more partnerships and lots more work to make sure that Black motherhood is put into the narrative. And working with these 4 ladies that I work with, they're absolutely amazing, and it's a real sisterhood. And yeah, with Red Bull, we're still working with the community and we're still doing things. There's going to be lots of opportunities, God willing, next year. So we're business planning. Obviously, we can't announce or say anything, but we're just hoping that we are going to be able to do the stuff that we want to do next year, God willing.
God willing. Natalie, it has been such a pleasure. You know, thank you so much for your time. I know your time is precious and I really, really appreciate it.
No worries.
And no doubt I'll definitely be having you back again. And you know what would be really great next time? If a couple of the dope, I know that we're on lockdown at the moment, but I've got 3 lovely seats here in the studio.
Oh, I'd love to.
And you know, it would be wonderful if 2 or 3 more of you could come in for a show, and let us, all 4 of us have a dope Black mums.
I mean, that's basically our podcast. All we do is just chat and talk. So yeah.
So I would love to invite you in. Have a wonderful day, and we'll speak soon. You have been locked into the Power Hour on Revive FM with myself, Louise Power, and my guest, Natalie Duval. Please do look Natalie up on all social media. Dope Black Mums on Instagram, and Natalie is also available on LinkedIn. Take care. See you same time, same place next week.
This is Aisha. Her father died in an accident at a